I found a story from way back in 1983, which is pretty funny in terms of comics. I want to have a little bit of fun on a Sunday here as we talk comics on JDA Talks Comics. And of course, there was a time when Harlan Ellison sued Marvel Comics and settled for a lifetime subscription to all of their books. This is pretty funny stuff. And it came about with a Bill Mantlo Hulk issue. Now, Bill Mantlo's Hulk run was one of the best Hulk runs ever. If you've not read it, I totally suggest it. I believe it's available in Epic Collections, where there were some sort of proto-Epic Collections before that, if they're not out yet, that collect the whole thing. Really good stuff. Now, subsequent printings of this run actually do credit Harlan Ellison as having been a partial writer of this, which because the idea was kind of lifted from it. Now, in modern times, we have so many different lifted from ideas, and in fact, so much of comics is lifted from ideas, even from back then. I mean, if you look at even Spider-Man was a lift of kind of the Fly a little bit. The Fantastic Four was Champions of the Unknown. The Human Torch was lifted from the Human Torch. So, I mean, the Marvel Comics has a big history of doing this with a lot of other things, and so does comics. It's always about filing the serial numbers off and kind of like doing a little bit of a twist on things. And even today, you get, Mark Waid's Irredeemable and Incorruptible is just Superman, but what if he went corrupt, which is kind of what he did with Kingdom Come, right? And so this is like a way that comics does things. But Harlan Ellison was a cantankerous guy, and he sued a lot of people for, quote, stealing his ideas very repeatedly, sometimes successful, sometimes not, but he liked to make a lot of noise, and he was endearing because of that. And so let's get into this and how it all went down in just a moment. Please hit the like and subscribe button and join us as we talk about all things on comics here, guys. This is my Fandom Pulse Substack. I write articles every single day about different things in culture, including comics. I've got a comics, tabletop games, movies, video games, and books. And I would love for you to get on here, guys, because this is where I do a lot of my news. I'm working with John Trent, who actually founded Bounding Into Comics back in the day. They censored both of us because we wanted to have a very unabashed, conservative, and Christian outlook with things. And they went on a more corporate direction, sank their entire website once he left. But he's writing for me full-time. I'm writing here full-time as well. This is where you can get all of your entertainment news that's not filtered and not just press releases from Marvel and DC like CBR does or whatever. This is the real deal. So grab this in the description below. I'm also a comic creator with my own books and links in the description below if you want to check those out too. Thanks for being here, guys, and thanks for reading. So, interesting. In 1983, one of science fiction's most litigious writers discovered that Marvel Comics had borrowed his work without permission or credit, and I put borrowed in quotes. What happened next defied every expectation about such disputes typically unfold, resulting in one of the most unusual copyright settlements in entertainment history. Harlan, of course, if you don't know who he is, was one of science fiction's most prolific and combative writers, with 1,700-plus pieces, including the legendary Star Trek episode, The City on the Edge of Forever, classic stories like I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Known for his fierce advocacy of writers' rights and willingness to take legal action against anyone who used his work without permission, he won multiple Hugo Awards and Nebula Awards and the like. His reputation for protecting intellectual property was so well established, most publishers went out of their way to avoid crossing him because it was never going to be good for them. So this situation came because Marvel had adapted a plot of one of his 1957 short stories, Soldier from Tomorrow, for The Incredible Hulk 286, written by Bill Mantlo. Ellison had previously adapted the same story for the Outer Limits television series for the episode Soldier. He actually sued Terminator over this concept as well when that came out, interestingly enough, because later on. Now, this is a story, and it is a little bit very, very similar to Harlan Ellison's story, where this hero, comes back in time and ends up interacting with the Hulk on this, right? And Harlan Ellison got pretty mad about this, and it was not credited to Ellison or seek permission to use his work. When readers familiar with it noticed it, word quickly reached Jim Shooter that the company had stumbled upon a copyright problem. Now, this is with Marvel, these are coming out with monthly books, and he's got 60, 80 books a month at this point for Marvel, that they're just pounding these stories out, and they're just pulp stories, and a lot of them borrow ideas from lots of places, kind of twist them into the superhero genre. I don't think this is abnormal, and I don't think in 2025 that a claim like this would have any standing whatsoever because of just the perpetuation of just how much content gets taken out there. But in 1983, Harlan had a lot of clout, and he would make it the Rebel bounce. He would. So Shooter said, Harlan said words to the effect of, "You ripped me off." And I said, "Yes, I know. I just found out about it." The admission calmed him down. When I asked what he wanted, should we turn this over to our lawyers and let them work something out, I assured him there was no contention. Marvel did it and would fess up to it. Now, that's pretty interesting that Bill Mantlo even said, yeah, I totally lifted that because I love Harlan Ellison, right? And then Jim Shooter just fessed up to it as well. You would never get anything like that these days. Jim Shooter was a consummate professional and really cared about the craft. And this is the difference between Marvel then and Marvel now as well. Harlan's damages by statute would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars had he had us dead to rights. Instead, he'd settle for the same money Bill was paid to write the script. And an acknowledgement, plus a lifetime subscription to everything we ever published. Done. Thank you, Harlan. That's what happened. So ridiculous on that level. So Harlan cared a lot more about the credit than he actually cared about the money on this stuff, which is interesting on that level. He actually, this was really about artistry with him, and that's why he was a very interesting figure. It was more than that than just trying to make a quick buck or anything like that. But this exemplifies just how interesting this was there. I mean, script writing was not a lot. Bill Mantlo actually had health problems and ended up passing away, and ended up just with not much to him. Marvel really didn't give him very much for this, and there's many such cases with Marvel and the like. And so Harlan probably only got a couple $100 out of this, and I guess a lifetime subscription to everything they ever published. This is back when Marvel, if you guys don't know, back in the day, these companies had subscriptions, and they'd actually mail the comics to you. That was part of their business model, and it worked very, very well for them. You'd get a slight discount as a reader for doing it. That's how I first grew up. My aunt actually bought me a subscription to Amazing Spider-Man when I was like 12 years old, and that's how I first started reading comics. I got it for my birthday, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And so neat stuff on that level, and I guess Harlan got that. Now, I don't know how much of this actually panned out or how much he actually got in terms of the comics. That'd be interesting to find out. But of course, Harlan's no longer with us, so we can't really ask him about it. So this all happened here, and the company then actually wrote a half apology at this point. And here it is, the editor's red-faced apology department. A lot of readers thought that Hero in Hulk 286 bore a very strong resemblance to Harlan Ellison's short story in the teleplay Soldier. They were right. But writer Bill Mantlo did indeed adapt Harlan's philosophical thriller to Hulk use, but because of the last-minute mix-up, Harlan's credit was accidentally omitted from where it should have been at the top of the page one. We're sincerely sorry for the confusion, and we're taking this opportunity to apologize to Harlan and his many fans. So that ended up in one of the comics there as a result, and pretty interesting, diplomatically crafted, of course. Now, this is the original still from Soldier. That if you've ever watched that Outer Limits show, very, very good episode. I definitely recommend going back and watching that. Good stuff right there. And I think Shooter just fessing up to it and just treating it like this calmed Harlan down and actually got him to just agree to something where he could have sued them for hundreds of thousands of dollars, could have reshaped the case of course of Marvel history, knowing how thin of a line those companies used to be at back in the day. Interesting stuff right here. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this interesting moment in comic book history. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and do sign up for the Phantom Pulse Substack in the description below. Get your news and don't miss a moment of it. Thanks for being here and reading. We'll be back soon.